The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. Have you ever thought that you might be more attractive than you think you are? Not just physically, but something deeper. Something that people feel when they're around you. Or maybe there have been moments where a stranger treated you with unexpected kindness or sudden hostility, and you were left wondering what just happened. You told yourself, that must be a coincidence. You doubted the possibility that you could be deeply attractive without even trying. But according to Carl Jung, attraction isn't just about looks. It's not just about the symmetry of your face, the curve of your smile, or your clothes. Jung believed that true attraction comes from something far more mysterious. Something alive inside you, whether you see it or not. In his lesser-known writings, Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." In other words, real attraction isn't just visual, it's transformational, it's energetic, it's the silent electricity you create when your soul brushes against someone else's. Think about it. Have you ever watched a stranger tell you their whole life story in 5 minutes? Or notice some people unconsciously copying your expressions? Or how animals and small children are drawn to you, trusting you without a second thought? These aren't accidents, they're signals. Signals that your presence is doing something to the world around you. Even if you feel invisible some days, even if you could list 100 reasons why you're ordinary, your unconscious mind, your true self, might be broadcasting something extraordinary. Today, we're diving into 12 powerful signs that show you're far more attractive than you think. Attraction on a level that Carl Jung said touches not the senses, but the fabric of the unconscious mind. Stay close, because by the end of this journey, you might realize you've been underestimating your own magic. If you enjoyed this video, if it made you feel better or gave you some new insight, be sure to let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now where you are. And if you'd like to be part of our community, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're the first to get notified whenever a new video comes out. Number 1. People stare at you and you don't know why. You're standing in a coffee shop line or sitting on a park bench lost in your thoughts, and you notice it. A stranger is looking at you a little too long, not rudely, not necessarily flirtatiously, just a quiet, fascinated attention that you can feel. You start thinking, is there something on my face? Did I wear something weird today? Why are they staring? The real reason is this. Your presence speaks louder than your appearance, and people are picking up on it. Even if you're completely unaware, Carl Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When someone locks eyes with you and holds their gaze, it's because something in you is reacting with something inside them. It's chemical, it's energetic, it's unconscious. They might not know what it is. They just know they feel something. In real life, this is subtle but powerful. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone in a crowded room and couldn't explain why you were drawn to them? They weren't the most glamorous or conventionally beautiful person there, but there was something about them, an energy, a story behind their eyes, a quiet magnetic pull. The exact same thing happens with you. Without trying, without performing, you create a subtle emotional shift in the people around you. They sense your depth, your complexity, your authenticity, even if they can't put it into words. And because that's unusual in a world obsessed with superficial signals, they pause, they stare, they try to figure you out without even realizing it. You don't see it because it feels normal to you. It's a paradox. You don't notice your own magnetic presence because you're used to living inside it. It's like trying to smell the scent of your own home. To you, it's invisible. To everyone else, it's unforgettable. When Jung talked about the unconscious mind's influence on relationships, He wasn't talking about how white your teeth are or how perfectly your hair falls. He was talking about archetypes, hidden emotional truths that people feel on a soul level. You might unknowingly be carrying the archetype of the wise one, the rebel, the healer, or the muse. And others, without understanding why, are drawn to you for exactly these reasons. They see something rare, something they didn't even know they were searching for. And that's why the staring happens. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because for a moment, someone's unconscious mind says, "There's something in you that I recognize, something I need." And once you understand this, those small moments, those lingering looks, will start to feel like quiet proof of a beauty far deeper than surface attraction, rather than a reason to feel self-conscious. But the signs don't stop here. In fact, the next point might explain why people react to you with such intensity, even if you haven't said a single word. If this point relates to you, let us know in the comments. Do people stare at you like this? And what did you learn from this point? 2. Strangers are either extremely nice or weirdly hostile. When you have unconscious magnetism, a genuine inner attractiveness, you'll notice something strange. People split into two camps as soon as they meet you. Some are instantly kind, warm, and drawn to you. Others, for no clear reason, act offensive, cold, or even subtly aggressive. And you're often left wondering, what did I do wrong? Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." You're not just a passive observer in people's lives. You're an emotional catalyst sparking reactions, stirring up energies they didn't even know they were carrying. And when your energy is strong, even if you're unaware of it, people's unconscious minds react before their conscious minds do. In real life, this looks like this. You walk into a coffee shop. A stranger you've never seen throws you a big, genuine smile, as if they recognize something in you. Both of you feel instant warmth without a single word. A few minutes later, another person stares at you for no reason. Maybe they even bump into you in line and act annoyed. Neither reaction is really about you personally. It's about what your energy awakens in them. Some people feel inspired by your presence. It reminds them of something beautiful or free within themselves. Others feel threatened because your authenticity highlights something they suppressed or lost. It's not about you being too much or not enough. It's about them confronting parts of themselves they aren't ready to face. Jung's concept of projection explains this perfectly. He believed that people project onto others what they can't accept in themselves, both their dreams and their fears. Unknowingly, you become a canvas for someone's hopes, insecurities, or unresolved wounds. You remind them, unconsciously, of something powerful. Their lost dreams, their hidden shame, their deep longing for something real. And depending on where they are in their own journey, they'll either embrace you with awe or reject you out of fear. In short, if you notice strangers behaving oddly extreme toward you, unusually friendly or strangely cold, it's a massive sign that you're carrying an inner light that touches people's deepest layers. It's not about everyone liking you. It's about everyone feeling you. And that is far rarer and far more powerful than surface-level beauty. If you've ever noticed these polarized reactions, tell us in the comments. Which camp of people do you meet more? And what did this point help you understand? 3. You make strong first impressions. You walk into a room, maybe a new job interview, a party, or a random cafe, and without saying a word, people notice you. The air shifts slightly. Conversations pause for half a second. It's subtle but undeniable. People often think making a strong first impression means looking perfect, wearing the right clothes, saying the right line. But Carl Jung saw it differently. He said the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. It's not about your outfit. It's not about your words either. It's about the invisible chemical reaction between your being and theirs. When you show up in your authentic energy, not trying to impress, not performing, you create a spark that people feel on a primal level. Think about it. Have you ever been introduced to someone and knew there was something special about them before they finished their first sentence? Maybe you felt drawn to them, curious, excited, or even a little intimidated. That's exactly what you trigger in others, and you might not even realize it. Here's the thing. People often spend their first impressions in pretense, masking nerves, performing confidence. But when you bring real, integrated energy, good, messy, real, you unconsciously give others permission to connect on a deeper level, and that's magnetic. That's why after a 5-minute conversation, someone might say, "I feel like I've always known you." Or after a random coffee shop interaction, someone might remember months later and say, "There was something about your presence." This isn't about being loud. It's not about being the center of attention. It's about being centered in yourself. And according to Jung, this unconscious transmission of energy is far more powerful than any deliberate image you try to project. It's real. It's raw. And that's why people feel changed, even slightly, after crossing your path. If people remember their first impression of you like this, let us know in the comments. Has this happened to you? And what did you learn from this point? 4. People instantly overshare with you. Have you ever been standing in a coffee line and suddenly the person next to you was telling you about their breakup? Or sitting at a party and within minutes someone was unloading their life story, hopes, fears, things they barely tell their closest friends? This isn't random. It isn't just about being nice. It's a sign of something rare. Your emotional resonance. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When people meet you, something like a chemical reaction sparks in your presence. It's not about what you say. It's about your energy. Your presence feels safe, authentic, and profoundly human. Without knowing it, you broadcast a silent message. Here, it's okay to be real. You won't be judged. And in a world full of masks and performances, that's magnetic beyond words. Here's a real-life example. Imagine you're at a work event. Everyone's making small talk. Surface level talk about weather, commute, weekend plans. Then you meet someone, and within minutes they're telling you about the dream job they're afraid to chase, or the divorce they're still quietly grieving. You didn't ask. You didn't probe. You just listened, truly listened, and something in them instantly trusted you. This is the hallmark of deep unconscious attractiveness. You make people feel seen, maybe for the first time in a long time. In Jungian psychology, when you're in touch with your deeper self, even if you don't fully realize it, you send out signals of authenticity and acceptance. People unconsciously sense that you're not projecting a fake persona. You're not hiding behind social scripts. You're just there, present and open. And that gives them silent permission to drop their guard. That's why people confide in you. That's why they share their raw, unedited selves without fear. Your attractiveness is so deep that you don't flaunt it. It's just who you are. Often people with this energy don't realize how powerful it is because they're used to being the listener, the comforter, the quiet center of the storm. But make no mistake, this emotional magnetism is rare, and it's one of the most potent forms of attraction. And the beautiful irony is that the very sensitivity that makes you doubt your own glow is exactly why you're unforgettable to others. But emotional resonance is just one layer. There's more hidden beneath it. And next, we go even deeper. If people overshare with you like this, tell us in the comments. What happened to you? And what realization did this point spark in you? 5. You often get compliments on odd things. Maybe you've noticed. People don't just tell you you're pretty or handsome. They say, "There's something about you. Your laugh is contagious. You have such a calming presence. You light up a room without trying." These aren't surface compliments. These are soul compliments. and they reveal something Jung often talked about: invisible forces that shape human attraction. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When someone compliments your energy, your voice, your presence, they're reacting to the invisible chemical reaction happening between your inner world and theirs. It's not just about looks. It's about what your being awakens in them. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room where someone looked at you, then smiled, without stopping, even though you said nothing? That's not about your hairstyle or outfit. It's your emotional frequency resonating with theirs. Or maybe you had a casual conversation with someone, and later they said, "You made my whole day better." Even though you were just being yourself. They're not reacting to your looks. They're reacting to how you made them feel. And that feeling, comfort, inspiration, joy, mystery, is infinitely more powerful than physical appearance. This is chemistry beyond words. This is transformation at the soul level. In Jungian psychology, these compliments on intangible qualities suggest that your true self, what Jung called the self with a capital S, is shining through. Not the mask you wear for society, the persona, but the deeper, radiant essence that makes you uniquely you. When that self comes forward, even subtly, people sense it. They feel more alive around you, often without knowing why. This is rare. This is magnetic. And it's one of the purest signs that you're far more attractive than you realize. So next time someone compliments something unusual about you, don't brush it off. Don't think it's random. It's a glimpse of the powerful effect you have on the world. An effect you were born to create, not to force. And ironically, the less you try to control it, the more undeniable it becomes. If you get unusual compliments like these, share in the comments which compliment do you remember most, and what did you learn from this point? 6. People unknowingly copy your behavior. Have you noticed that after spending time with someone, they start picking up your phrases? Maybe they start using your slang, laughing like you, or mimicking your body language without realizing it. At first this might seem random, but it isn't. Carl Jung observed something powerful about human behavior. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When people unconsciously find you attractive, not just physically, energetically, their psyche responds like a chemical reaction. They don't just like you, they merge with your frequency. This mirroring is subtle but profound. It's the unconscious mind's way of saying, "I'm drawn to you. I want to feel more like you." Real life examples. You share a joke, and suddenly they retell it as their own. You casually mention a book you like, and a week later they're quoting it. You wear a jacket a certain way, and at the next meeting, guess what? They've adjusted theirs almost the exact same way. This isn't imitation for approval. It's unconscious alignment. Their psyche feels your warmth, authenticity, presence, and wants more of it. Jung believed this synchronicity, this unconscious copying, is the deepest way people reveal hidden admiration. It's far more meaningful than a compliment because it completely bypasses thought. Their mind isn't deciding to copy you. Their soul is reaching towards something magnetic. People often miss this signal because it isn't loud, it isn't dramatic. It's in small, quiet ways. Someone leaning closer to you without noticing. How they start matching your tone, pace, gestures. How they unconsciously weave pieces of you into their own self-expression. This is easy to overlook, but it's one of the purest signs that your natural presence, your individuated self, is deeply, irresistibly attractive. And the wildest part, you don't have to perform. You don't have to impress. You just have to be. Next time someone picks up your habits, humor, or energy, don't brush it off. Recognize it for what it is, a quiet, undeniable mirror of your hidden radiance. If you've ever seen someone mirror you like this, tell us in the comments. Has this happened to you? And what did you learn from this point? 7. Animals and children are drawn to you. You're standing at a family gathering, and without trying, small children circle around you. They pull your hand, show you their toys, or just sit next to you in total trust. You walk through a park, and someone's dog, ignoring its owner's calls, comes up to you and rests its head on your knee. You didn't say anything special. You didn't do anything flashy. Yet there's something about you that makes the world's purest beings feel safe, connected, seen. Carl Jung once said, "A healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who become torturers." This lesser-quoted line reminds us that those carrying unresolved pain often unknowingly radiate chaos, while those who have faced their inner wounds or who are striving toward wholeness of soul emit peace. Animals and children don't listen to words. They listen to energy. They feel what adults have learned to ignore. They sense that your inner world is safe enough for their innocence to approach without fear. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being true. When a child laughs uncontrollably in your presence, when a shy cat suddenly curls up in your lap, when a dog lies at your feet, instead of chasing distractions, you're witnessing rare attraction. The attraction of an integrated soul in a world full of masks. Your authenticity becomes magnetic to those who are still too young or too wild to wear masks at all. People often don't realize this power. They shrug it off. "Oh, kids just like me." Or "Animals are just funny around me." But through a Jungian lens, this is much deeper. It's a living signal that your intuitive, instinctive, nurturing parts are alive and quietly shining. In real life, these moments often happen when you're not trying at all. You're relaxed, you're present, you're yourself without your defenses up, and unknowingly, the most sensitive beings on earth recognize you as home. If animals and children are drawn to you like this, let us know in the comments. Have you noticed this? And what did this point help you understand about yourself? 8. Your presence changes the mood of a room. You may have experienced this. You walk into a room and immediately feel a shift in energy. The atmosphere relaxes, or the conversation takes a different tone. People who were doing something pause, glance over, or even smile, as if your presence naturally pulls the room's energy toward you, without you lifting a finger. Now let's look at why this happens. Jung says, it's not just about looks or speaking, it's deeper. It's a projection of your unconscious mind. Your psychic energy is affecting the environment, whether you realize it or not. Carl Jung's theory of the collective unconscious goes beyond personal experience. He believed that on a deep level, all humans share certain archetypes, symbols, and emotional patterns that transcend individual life stories. This means when you enter a room, you're not just bringing yourself, you're touching the ancient well of shared human experience. When you come into a space, your presence often resonates with these collective patterns. How you carry yourself, your confidence, authenticity, sense of peace, can shift something in the group, even if they can't name it. This psychic resonance changes energy, creates a shift in mood that feels almost magnetic. Imagine you're at a family gathering. The energy is tense. People caught up in old grievances and unresolved drama. You walk in, maybe a little unsure, but then you settle into the room. You don't try to fix anything or change anyone. You just exist. Fully present, calm, and centered. Soon people soften. A difficult conversation shifts. Tranquility spreads. This is the unconscious field Jung talked about. The field of psychic energy we all interact with. Your grounded energy can become a stabilizer, a force that brings clarity and harmony. You don't need to say a single word. Your being alters the environment. This is the power of deep, unconscious attraction. This is unspoken leadership, where your presence sets the tone effortlessly. Think of the colleague who isn't the loudest in the room, yet when they speak, they command attention. Their presence doesn't demand validation. It just exists, steady and assured. They come into the office with energy that says, "I belong here." You might unconsciously be drawn to them, even if they're not the most vocal or outgoing. Why? Jung said that when we're fully integrated with our unconscious selves, we carry the energy of authenticity. And authenticity is magnetic. It invites others to relax, trust, and be more themselves. In real life, this might be the colleague who quietly encourages collaboration, who puts others at ease, without any power plays. They don't need to show off their intellect or assert dominance, because their energy speaks for them. This reflects a powerful and less common Jungian quote: "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This goes straight to the heart of why your presence is so magnetic. When you're fully yourself, unapologetically, and without pretense, the collective unconscious picks up on that authenticity. Others are drawn to it like moths to a flame, even if they can't explain why. When we talk about changing a room's mood, this is about integrating your inner world with your outer world. Jung believed that true individuation, the process of becoming a whole, authentic self, naturally aligns your inner and outer worlds. As a result, you stop projecting mixed messages. There's no disconnect between who you are and what you present. In simple words, when you're at peace with yourself, the world around you becomes at peace too. This doesn't mean you're always perfect or without struggles, but it means you've stopped trying to fit into molds where you don't belong. You radiate an energy of wholeness, and that's contagious. Think of the friend who lightens the mood at any social gathering the moment they walk in. They don't even try to entertain, they just exist in their full, authentic self. They're not the center of attention, but when they speak, everyone listens. When they smile, people smile with them. This isn't about charming others. It's about being comfortable with your own energy and letting it reverberate through the space. Their magnetism is a natural byproduct of their inner harmony, and that is the most attractive thing there is. As we move forward, we'll see that your energy, this unspoken presence, is one of the clearest signs of your hidden attraction. It's not always loud or flashy, but it is undeniable. If your presence changes a room's mood like this, tell us in the comments. Have you felt this in yourself? And what did this point teach you? 9. People remember you. Even after one meeting, you meet someone once, just a few minutes of passing interaction, and months later, they greet you like an old friend. They remember your name, your smile, what you said. Meanwhile, you barely remember the encounter. Why does this happen? Because real attraction isn't just about physical beauty, it's about impression energy. A psychic signature you leave on others without trying. Carl Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When you have strong inner energy, when you're unconsciously authentic, you create a chemical reaction in other people's souls. Even brief moments with you leave emotional fingerprints on their unconscious mind. Picture this. You're waiting for your drink at a coffee shop. You smile at the barista, warmly say thank you, maybe joke about the weather, casual. Just a few seconds. Then weeks later, that same barista sees you on the other side of town and excitedly waves like an old friend. Or you sit next to someone on a flight. You exchange a few genuine words, not forced small talk. You forget about it, but a year later, your paths cross again, and they remember what you wore or the story you shared. You're not just leaving a memory, you're leaving a feeling. People won't remember every word you said, but they remember how they felt in your presence. Your authenticity bypasses surface memory and touches their deeper psyche. That level Jung called the collective unconscious, where raw human emotion lives. That's why someone can meet dozens of people in a week and often forget most of them. But you, they remember, because you didn't just exist in the room, you mattered. This magnetism isn't about being loud, flashy, or trying to impress. It's about resonance. A vibration you send out simply by being fully yourself, and often, you're the last one to realize you're doing it. If people remember you like this, tell us in the comments. Has this happened to you? And what did you learn from this point? 10. You're often told you have kind eyes or a beautiful soul. At first this sounds like a casual compliment. You have such kind eyes. There's something about your soul. You seem so genuine, and you think this is nice. But what does it mean? Because unlike direct comments about looks, these observations feel vague, almost mystical, but they're not random. They're the clearest signs that your inner self is leaking through, your true self. What Carl Jung called, the persona hides behind the mask, shown to the world. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. When someone sees your kind eyes or feels your beautiful soul, they're not just noticing physical appearance. They're sensing the parts of you that you don't consciously flaunt. Your compassion, resilience, emotional depth, and this makes it more powerful that you can't fake this kind of attraction. You can't apply it like makeup. You can't rehearse it like a speech. It's raw, it's real, and that's why it hits harder than any surface-level beauty. Here are real life situations that show this. You're at a party. You're not even trying to stand out. Maybe you're half listening to a conversation, sipping a drink, and someone crosses the room and says, "I don't know why, but you seem like someone I could trust." They can't explain it. They just feel it. You're at work or at the grocery store, and a stranger suddenly opens up about their struggles, things they may not have told anyone. Why? Because your emotional presence, not your clothes, not your smile, but your presence made them feel safe, even online. Texts, voice notes, video calls, people pick up on this. They say you radiate good energy without meeting in person. Jung explained that people are often trapped in their persona, the mask they wear to survive socially. But if you've unconsciously integrated parts of your shadow, flaws, pain, hidden gifts, you're showing the world a more whole version of yourself. And wholeness is magnetic. Wholeness is what makes people stop mid-sentence to look into your eyes. Wholeness is what makes someone say, "There's something about you," even if they can't explain what. Often, people with the kindest eyes have gone through the deepest pain. They know how fragile life can be. They know how heavy invisible burdens can feel, and somehow, without trying, they carry that understanding in their gaze, their smile, their silence. This isn't just attractiveness. This is transcendence, and the world can feel it, even if you can't. Now imagine when you finally start seeing in yourself what others already sense. When you stop hiding, stop doubting, and start owning that quiet, soul, deep power, because there's still more to uncover, and the next signs go even deeper. If you've ever been told you have kind eyes or a beautiful soul, let us know in the comments. Does this relate to you, and what did this point clarify for you? 11. People try to impress you without you saying a word. You might be sitting quietly at a party, not trying to steal the spotlight. Yet people start listing their job titles, claiming their travels, dropping hints about their achievements. At first you think, why are they telling me all this? Here's the hidden truth. When you radiate unconscious attractiveness, you activate a subtle primal instinct in others. The instinct to seek approval from someone they admire. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When someone with a deep magnetic presence enters a room, people react unconsciously. They either feel inspired to rise to the occasion, or feel insecure and try to prove their worth. This doesn't mean you're arrogant. In fact, this often happens when you're the most unaware of your own impact. Imagine this. You're catching up with friends at a coffee shop. You're just talking about your day. Nothing fancy. Then someone at the table loudly mentions their promotion, an exotic vacation, meeting famous people. You didn't ask. You didn't show off. yet your presence triggered their need to measure up. This happens in dating too. You meet someone for the first time. Instead of a relaxed conversation, they seem eager to impress you, show off, seem interesting. Not because of what you said, but because something about you naturally raises the emotional stakes. It's important to realize that this behavior isn't actually about you. It's about what your energy mirrors in them, their hopes, insecurities, their desire to appear valuable. In Jungian psychology, this phenomenon connects to the idea of projection, where we unconsciously attribute our unacknowledged feelings to others. Your unconscious attractiveness becomes a kind of psychological mirror. You reflect back to others their hidden longing to be enough, and in trying to impress you, they're really saying, "I feel your light, and I want to be worthy of standing in it." 12. You feel like an outsider, yet still magnetize attention. You don't feel like you fit into the usual social molds. You might sit quietly at the edges of a crowded room, wondering why you never quite blend in, and yet, in your silence, in your solitude, people notice you. They glance over. They feel your presence. They orbit around you even if you're not trying to attract anyone. This isn't a coincidence. It's the paradox of deep attractiveness that Jung pointed to. He once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and becoming your true self often means stepping outside the group's expectations. In a world obsessed with conformity, whoever dares to be authentic, even quietly, even awkwardly, shines like a lighthouse in the fog of sameness." Picture this. You're at a party. Everyone else is laughing loudly, talking over each other, trying to impress. You sit back. You observe. You don't force yourself into the noise. Maybe you think, "Why can't I be like them? Why do I always feel different?" And yet, someone, maybe several people, keep finding excuses to come near you. They ask odd questions. They smile at you for no clear reason. They sense something rare, stillness, depth, authenticity, something that most people don't even realize they're craving. They can't name it, but they feel it. This is your true attractiveness speaking. Jung believed that individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your real self, naturally sets you apart from the crowd. You start living from your inner compass, instead of from external approval. But here's the twist. Even though this path can sometimes feel lonely, it gives you an irresistible power. You become someone who doesn't beg for attention. And exactly because of that, you command it. This, again, is the work of the unconscious mind. People are drawn to what feels real, even if they can't explain it. They're tired of masks, tired of performances. They want real, even if real feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Sometimes being magnetizing as an outsider doesn't feel like a blessing. It feels like a burden. You wonder why you just can't blend in. You might unknowingly push people away because you're suspicious of their attention. Jung understood this too. He wrote about the loneliness that comes with individuation. Loneliness doesn't come from a lack of people around you, but from not being able to communicate the things that matter to you. You're not too different. You're simply living closer to your true nature than most people are willing to, and people instinctively gravitate toward that spark, even when words fail, even if you don't believe it's happening. So if feeling like an outsider is a hidden sign of rare attractiveness, how do you fully own that energy instead of hiding it? How do you move from quiet magnetism to conscious, confident radiance? In the next part, we'll uncover the real steps to integrating your hidden beauty and why embracing your true self might be your most powerful work. Now here's the real question. If all these signs feel familiar, why don't you believe you're attractive? Why is your mind hiding your own radiance from you? The answer might surprise you. If you recognize the signs of attraction we explored, why do you still doubt yourself? Why do you feel invisible even when the world sees you shining? Carl Jung believed the answer lies deep in the unconscious mind, specifically in what he called the shadow. The shadow is the hidden part of your psyche. All the pieces of you that you rejected, denied, or minimized over the years, not because they were bad, but because somewhere along the way you were taught they were too much, too different, or not good enough. That includes your natural magnetism, warmth, spark, beauty. When society, family, or past wounds convince you that shining is dangerous, your unconscious mind suppresses your radiance to keep you safe. You learn to see yourself through distorted mirrors. Imagine growing up surrounded by cracked mirrors. Every reflection shows a broken, incomplete version of you. You learn to see flaws first, strengths later. You learn to question your worth rather than trust it. Even now, when someone admires you with a gaze, a small voice whispers, "They must be noticing something wrong with me." That voice isn't telling you the truth. It's an echo of old survival instincts that no longer serve you. Your energy betrays the truth, even if your mind can't see it. Even if your conscious mind says, "I'm nothing special," your body language, your emotional frequency, and your unconscious energy say otherwise. People are reading your true self, the one you're too humble or too wounded to recognize. Jung taught that the unconscious is always communicating. Even if you doubt your own light, the world around you can feel it. Healing your relationship with your shadow reveals your true attractiveness. Here's the secret. You don't need to become more attractive. You need to remember that you already are. Healing your relationship with your shadow, the parts you hid or disowned, is how you unlock the magnetic power you already had. This is about reintegrating your light and realizing that the very things you thought made you different are exactly what make you unforgettable. Look, attraction isn't about being perfect. It's not about flawless skin, an ideal body, or memorized confidence tricks. It's about being real in a world full of masks. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Think about that. Not according to society's expectations, not according to old wounds, but fully, unapologetically, vulnerably yourself. And that's exactly what makes you magnetic. That's why you can walk into a room in an old hoodie with messy hair and still turn heads without trying, because real energy can't be faked. That's why someone can scroll through 1,000 polished photos on social media and still remember the bad joke that made them laugh 3 months ago, because real connection leaves fingerprints on the soul. That's why people can be drawn to you even when you feel like a complete mess, because they're not responding to your surface. They're responding to your truth. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to look a certain way or achieve some goal first. You are already enough. Your shadow, those forgotten parts, don't make you less attractive. They make you real, human, irreplaceable. When you stop running from yourself, that's the moment the world truly sees you. If any of this spoke to something deep inside you, if you felt a small spark of recognition that maybe, just maybe, you're more powerful than you've ever allowed yourself to be, then this is only the beginning. Every week on this channel, we dive into the unseen sides of psychology, energy, and personal awakening. If you're ready to understand yourself and finally be seen for who you are, subscribe now. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because believe me, the journey from here only gets deeper, richer, and more real. Your light deserves to be seen. The world is waiting for it. And deep down, so are you. If you enjoyed this video, if it made you feel better, or gave you some new insight, be sure to let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now where you are. And if you'd like to be part of our community, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, so you're the first to get notified whenever a new video comes out.